Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about something that actually my Patreon crowd has been wanting me to do a video on for YouTube. I always take their advice. If you're part of my Patreon, you get to tell me what to do videos on. But I must share with you, they were so adamant about this video and for me to look at this person's chart that I actually did an entire dissertation on his chart just for my Patreon people. So I put that out a couple of months ago. And I thought I might do a new one because of events that have been occurring. And who am I talking about? Sean Combs, Diddy, the rap star. We all pretty much know he's in trouble right now. He's in prison and he's been accused of some pretty awful things. And I don't think he's going to get out of this. Mainly, he keeps saying he's innocent with hundreds of accounts and people that, you know, not everybody else is wrong and he's right. But of course, he has a lot of stakes. So of course, he's going to say he's innocent. But he is pretty much in danger. I thought I might show you the chart. You know, thinking about Epstein in prison and all the people that can be exposed. And I mean to tell you, I'm not even going to tell you who I think is implicated here. Basically because of a connection of the planets. But I can't even say it here. I'll tell my Patreon people though. But before I start, I do want to remind everyone, sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org and you will get all of my predictions delivered to your email address every week. So go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, you can check out all the things that my Patreon page and my community will offer you when you become a member. It's amazing. And don't forget about my Galactic Planner. If you want all of your aspects delivered to your personal calendar in your phone or your computer using your chart, go to galacticplanner.com and you will have your personal astrologer every day directing you through your own individual chart. So sign up for that. And don't forget, I teach. I have a whole online university. And go there, you could become my student, universityofvedicastrology.com. Now let's get going and start looking at Sean Combs, Diddy's chart. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a birth time for him, and I guarantee you if we had a birth time, we could see a heck of a lot more. But we're going to base everything through the moon, because we do know his moon is in Leo, because for when I pull up his birthday, which is November 4th, 1969, and I look at 12 noon, the moon sits at 15 degrees of Leo. So the whole day, no matter what time he was born, his moon is definitely in Leo. So in Vedic astrology, if we do not know a birth time, and even when we do have a birth time, we always analyze the chart through the moon, because the moon is really reflective of how you're feeling. And in India, they actually look at the transiting planets first from the moon sign before they look at it from the ascendant sign. So it is very important. Now, looking at his moon being in Leo, we find that Ketu, which is the planet of loss, which is the planet of deep inward search, is with the moon. And sometimes this can be very spiritual, and sometimes this can be deranged. It can go either way. It's almost like you got to see what else is going in the chart. In the chart. So looking at the moon in Leo, we're looking at the Jupiter-Venus in the second house from the moon. And the second house deals with wealth and money. And oh my goodness, does this Venus-Jupiter tell us about the wealth he has amassed through his chart, because the second house, I mean, Venus and Jupiter are both benefics, incredible benefics. And the second house deals not only with money, but it also deals with our voice. And he is a recording artist. He's a rapper. He uses his voice to make his money. So that's pretty well seen here. But his Venus is 29 degrees of Virgo. It's debilitated. Venus deals with relationships, with love, and Jupiter magnifies that all the more. But all at the same time, that 29-degree marking is very significant in Virgo because it is conjunct the fixed star Spica. And Spica is a star of, it's the most auspicious star in the heavens. So has he been lucky and fortunate and talented? Yes. Even though he's done some very awful things lately, he came into this world with great blessings. He's just screwed it up. You know, if he would have been satisfied with the money he made from singing, it could have been okay. But what's caused this derangement? What's caused this, I'm going to call it mental illness to the nth degree, to be, you know, an addict of this? We got to look deeper into this chart. But when you talk about the second house, it's also things that you consume, because it deals with the mouth, such as the voice, singing, but also what goes into the mouth. And he's, you know, been taking a lot of substance abuse. And I think personally that's what's made him so deranged. The drugs, all of the excess that's gone on with this. But Spica, by the way, means an overnight sensation too. I've seen Spica do this with people. And overnight, he became a megastar. And aside from that, Spica can deal with literary genius. It deals with writing. So he apparently writes his music and expresses himself. And even the moon being in Leo. Leo is the most expressive sign of the zodiac. And the nakshatra it sits in, Purva Falguni, deals a lot with entertainers. So these things are explained clearly. Now, the sun and Mercury sit in Libra in the third house. So this is his communication skills. And I mean, you got to admit, like it or not, he's extremely talented. He wouldn't be where he is. And the third house represents talent. Okay, so, but the most interesting thing that's going to really make sense out of this is his Mars. Now, his Mars sits in the sixth house from the moon, and it is exalted in Capricorn. So he is incredibly powerful. He is incredibly ambitious and driven with exalted Mars in the sixth house. And this would represent physical stamina and fitness and health with exalted Mars in the sixth house. Of course, doing all the behaviors that he's done has not been healthy, needless to say. And Mars being in Capricorn, here is what's really interesting. His Saturn sits in Aries in the ninth house, and it is debilitated. Saturn's debilitation sign is Aries. The ninth house deals with spirituality and truth. When Saturn sits there, people are usually very cynical towards religion. And that's not necessarily a terribly bad thing. It just means that they've seen a lot of hypocritical behavior when it comes to people who claim to be religious. And it makes them turn against religion because of the hypocrisy that they've seen in the area of religious beliefs. But Saturn is debilitated. And the ninth house is telling the truth. It is the truth. So a debilitated Saturn in the ninth house is untruthful. But this debilitation does shift. Because if you will look at where Mars sits in Capricorn, there is this mutual exchange of signs. So in other words, Mars is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Aries, ruled by Mars. And when this happens, it will shift and change a debilitation. But we're exchanging between the 6th house, which is the house of struggles and problems. And I think he's had a problem with being honest. But aside from that, Rahu sits in Aquarius in the 7th house of partnerships. So he's had some extremes with relationships, let me put it that way. They are really difficult. And a debilitated Venus means, you know, his relationships are bad. And so this has been going on probably, you know, this is where a lot of anger started from difficult, dysfunctional relationships in his life. But here's where it gets really crazy. If you will notice, his Mars sits at 6 degrees of Capricorn. That is exactly where transiting Pluto is in the sky right now. And transiting Pluto deals with major issues. So it's on his Mars. Now his Mars rules the 9th house of the truth. And it also rules the 4th house of his home. So he's been taken from his home. And he is being extremely dishonest. And you know what? Nobody believes him, so he can continue on with what he's saying because, you know, what is being uncovered from what he has been doing is so dark and so dirty with children and with all that we have been seeing going on in the world with sex trafficking. This is what this Mars-Pluto, transiting Pluto on his Mars, is exposing. Because you know what? This just tells me he's only the tip of the iceberg. But unraveling all this through him is going to start to bring major explosive events and transformational information about all of this. And it's going to be so dark because of the people that are involved and are going to be exposed. Pluto's going to do its job. What is Pluto? We talk about Pluto as being the major transformer. It deals with death. It deals with control. It deals with manipulation. It deals with sexual abuse. And Pluto is on his natal exalted Mars in the 6th house. And Mars rules the 9th house of the truth. So you see what's coming about? But further on, notice his Rahu sits there at 26 degrees of Aquarius. Guess where Saturn's going to be pretty soon? Saturn's been up to 24, 25 degrees already around August. And I think this is where everything started coming together, where he was arrested. Now Saturn's backtracking a little bit, but it's going to cross back over this degree probably around January. And that's crucial. Saturn Rahu is going to pretty much take him down, okay? And Saturn, well, Saturn's been opposing his moon for some time now, and that's why this has been an insanely difficult year for him in terms of being exposed, but good for the world because we can't have people like this. That the truth needs to come out, what they've been doing, but most of all, who he is in connection with. He's not the sole one in all of this. There is a lot more to be uncovered. If we could get his birth time, boy, could we see some deep stuff. I'm sure that a lot of his planets are in the 8th house. The 8th house is the house of abuse, of corruption. And if we look from the moon, Jupiter rules the 8th house from the moon because there's Pisces there. And actually, come to think of it, transiting Rahu is in Pisces, and so is Neptune, uncovering everything. It's time. And K2 has already crossed over his Venus and Jupiter. So the cat's out of the bag. He thinks he's going to get off, but he's not. There's no way if he survives prison, because Pluto on his Mars could be a violent attack on him. And Pluto is on his Mars this entire year, but it is dead on right now while I'm looking at it. Dead on. But Saturn crossing over his Rahu. And here's the thing, the 7th house deals with partners. So guess who's going to expose the truth, even more so partners, and possibly some people who want to save their ass and not get implicated in all of this. But it's going to come to where the truth is finally coming out. As I've been saying, so much of the truth is going to come out between this year, 2024, 2025, and then the healing of 2026. It's final that this is going to happen. Will Sean Combs' Diddy get out of this, get out of prison alive? That's something I need his birth time to be able to tell you. But looking at this, he is in dire danger with Saturn transiting over his Rahu in the 7th house, and he's in Rahu's Mahadasha. He's somewhere between Rahu, Sun, and Moon, and Saturn is aspecting his Rahu and his Moon. So this is crucial, this timing for him. And furthermore, Pluto's on his Mars, transiting Saturn's on his Rahu, and he's in that dasha. And transiting Rahu is in his 8th house, uncovering all of this corruption and dirt. So what do I think the final outcome? It doesn't look good for him, but the healing will begin. So looking at this, there's more to come with this tip of the iceberg. We're going to start seeing how so many people, not only in Hollywood, but in politics, are involved in this. So with that, I think I'll close. So if you would like more information, learn about me, you can go to my website. Go to galacticcenter.org, and there is where you can sign up for Patreon. There is where you can sign up for my newsletter. And also, you can even see we have a button there for the Galactic Planner, which I know you are going to need and want so that you can be better prepared every day through the stars. So with that, galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you want to study with me, go to my university website, universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.